All right, guys. So that's the original games that we have on our list. Now we're going to get into some truly innovative games, starting out with the OG FPS, Wolfenstein 3D.
Wolfenstein. Wolfenstein definitely belongs on the innovative list because without Wolfenstein, we wouldn't have Halo, we wouldn't have Doom, we wouldn't have Quake, we wouldn't have any first person shooters if it was not for Wolfenstein.
No, and it was a great game too. It was, it played similarly to Doom later on. Obviously, I would say that Doom is a better game, but this laid the groundwork for that. And going around killing Nazis, finding like hidden doors and stuff. It was just awesome to do that I played it on the computer. They made it for consoles and stuff later on, but this is a computer game. This is where it started, and I put tons and tons of hours into Wolfenstein 3D. So much fun, man.
It was good. It was good, and again, it's the grandfather of first person shooters,
Needs
and
no
it
disrespect.
it changed. It really changed it started the whole first person genre.
Now let's get into a subject where you are much more familiar than I, and this has to do with fighting games. What is the most innovative fighting game that you? Well, let's say one of the most innovative fighting games, because there's actually
Okay,
a few on our list that you can think of.
the one of them is by Sega again.
Again,
It's Virtual Fighter. It was a 3D polygonal fighter, but it was so technical where it you couldn't just button mash your way through it. I mean, if you really took the time to learn it, it was great. But because of Virtual Fighter, we got Tekken. We got a lot of the 3D fighters that kind of followed suit. But Virtual Fighter was innovative at the time, and it spawned a whole bunch of different clones because of it.
look, if you guys are under the age of, I'm going to say 32, you're going to go back and like look at what Virtual Fighter was and think we're nuts. Like that, we're absolutely insane. It looks like the most slow moving 3D fighting game you can imagine, but at the time, there was nothing like that. So it was mind
Nope.
boggling what was happening. Like, what do you mean a 3D fighting game? Like, you mean you can go up and down, like not just left and right on the screen? And it was actually a very, very good game, despite like, let's say it's not, it's aged poorly or whatever. I'm sure there's new versions of Virtual Fighter that are excellent. Virtual Fighter 5 is a fantastic fighting game.
Yeah.
But this was the OG, and as hard as it is to look at today, it was something truly special at that time, and it made people want to get a Sega Saturn. In fact, they ended up packing the game in with it.
Yeah. Virtual Fighter was so popular, they wound up redoing it and kind of sprucing up the graphics a little bit and called it Virtual Fighter Remix, which basically took the polish of Virtual Fighter 2 and then just layered it on top of the original Virtual Fighter. So it looked a little nicer, looked a little prettier. But at the heart of it, it was still Virtual Fighter. And granted, people will say Tekken is a much nicer looking game, but you wouldn't have Tekken if it wasn't for Virtual Fighter.
Most definitely. Now, another music game on the list. I mean, I love rhythm games. Obviously, you guys are going to learn that. But this game was like, this game owned my life. This game came out when I was in college. I was probably working with Wes around this time.
Yeah.
And this game like stole the life of anybody that walked in my house, especially for the first year because when Guitar Hero 1 came out, it wasn't as well known. By the time Guitar Hero 2 came out, everybody knew what it was. But in the
Mhm.
beginning, I had this day one and people would walk into my house in college and be like, "What the hell is that?" I'm like, "This is all we do around here, man. This is it."
Guitar, Guitar Hero. When Guitar Hero, they showed Guitar Hero 1 to us at a convention, and it was interesting. It was okay. We're gonna play guitar, and all right, it was kind of cool. It took a minute for it to actually set in, and once we actually got them in the store and really started to play it on the demo, man, we were all hooked. I mean, I remember talking to so many customers. I'm like, okay, look, you have to buy this game. You have to buy this game. It is fantastic. You have to buy it. Uh, but it started the whole music revolution as far as like rhythm games.
Yeah, I mean they made 8 billion Guitar Heroes after that. They made a whole bunch. Like Rock Band became from Guitar Hero. Harmonix made Guitar Hero originally. They would obviously part ways with Activision, and they would make uh, Rock Band with another
Mhm.
company. And they were actually partnered with MTV, I think, for Rock Band too. Those games were like that. Music games in general were so big for those that would I would say like what 6 to 8 years that they just own everything.
Everything, everything. We had, unfortunately, it kind of burnt itself out because every 6 months we got like a new Guitar Hero game.
Thanks, Activision. Thank you.
Yeah, it was nice to get a Beatles collection, a Metallica collection, Aerosmith collection. But like, did we need one every 6 months?
No, I mean, in fact, like the collections are cool. Like for if you don't like Metallica, you're not going to buy the Metallica one. Like I would have
Mhm.
rather them just put out like new ones. If they didn't do all the spin-offs and all the extra stuff, they could have probably gotten away with putting out one every 6 to 9 months.
Mhm.
But it was like at one point it was like every 4 months it was like here's another one, here's another one. Oh, you don't like the Beatles? Here's Metallica. Oh, you don't like that? Here's like the '80s version. You don't like that? Oh, here's
Oh yeah.
here's a numbered sequel. Here's number three. It's like come on, dude. Look, we all want the music. Just slow down. And all it's a shame because if it had happened
Mhm.
during the Xbox 360 generation, none of that would have existed. They would have been like, you know, here's Guitar Hero. If you guys want more games, there's going to be like an endless list of downloadable games, and that's how Rock Band is now. Rock Band 4 is actually still alive, even though it's been out for years. They
Mhm.
still put up new music to this day for Rock Band 4, which is insane. But you just go and download music. They didn't put out 17 versions of Rock Band 4. They put out one on Xbox One and PlayStation PS4. And then you just download all the games. That's how it should be. You shouldn't have to buy 17 versions of the game, you know?
Yeah. So I mean, we had a couple spin-offs. We had DJ Hero, which
DJ
was
Hero had the turntables.
which had the turntables, and it was actually really good. It was really really good. But again, it came out towards the end of the whole music boom, let's
Yep.
say. So it didn't really last too long.
No, they made a sequel. They made DJ Hero 2, and then I think it was dead after that. I don't think another DJ Hero came out after that. Those things
Nah.
got clearanced out hardcore. Like people were like, the store I worked at, the GameStop at the time, like we were happy to get rid of those turntables after a while.
I'm going to put you on the spot. I'm just letting everybody know a little secret. So the reason Matt has no hair is because when we worked together and we had the Guitar Hero demo, he pulled all his hair out because people kept playing Heart Shaped Box.
Oh my god, dude.
He always said, if I hear Heart Shaped Box one more time, I'm going to pull my hair out and I'm going to scream.
That was the worst part. Look, I love Guitar Hero. That was the worst part because they had it was a demo to get people interested in the game. There was 3 songs, and one of them was Heart Shaped Box. And I was like, what? Like I wish those 3 songs all sucked and I hated them because I was like, all right, well I hate the song anyway, so it doesn't matter if I hear it again. But I actually liked Heart Shaped Box quite a bit, and it just ruined it for me. Like I can't hear this again. Come on, like it's bad
Every
enough.
It was bad, man. Every time someone picked up the guitar demo, that was the song they put on.
You know what's funny, Wes? There was I'm gonna go a slightly off the beaten path, but when I worked out here as a store manager for GameStop, there's a store down the street that I worked at. It's pretty close to my home. That store's not there anymore, unfortunately. But there was a kid who came in there, must have been every day or every other day, and played Guitar Hero. Whatever demo was on there, all 3 songs. Not only would he play, he would sing every
Oh my goodness.
every
Yeah.
day or every other day. Wes, I had to deal with this. Do you understand what you're doing to your employees at some point when you only have like 3 songs in a demo? Do you understand the pain that I went through for that entire period of time in my life?
Uh,
Horrible.
it was horrible.
And then I had to hear somebody sing who doesn't know how to sing a song as well as playing Guitar Hero. And that demo was extremely loud. So as I'm talking to people trying to sell them something, because that's my job, I couldn't even hear what the hell was happening. Because somebody's singing Bon Jovi at the top of his lungs in the
Wow.
middle of the store
Wow.
every other day.
Yo, I recently, I know we've talked about this for a little bit now, but I gotta say, I recently pulled mine out and started playing it again.
It's
I
great.
suck.
Oh, dude.
Because I was cleaning. I was in my attic cleaning up, and I came across the wireless guitar for 360,
Nice.
and I said, well, let me just check and see because it felt kind of heavy. I said, I hope I didn't keep batteries in there and it exploded.
Yeah,
Batteries exploded.
guys, take your batteries out of your stuff. I can't tell
Yeah.
you that enough.
So they exploded, but I had some Q-tips and alcohol. I cleaned the contacts, and then it was fine. It wasn't bad. So I said, well, let me test it out and see if it worked. Man, so I hooked it up and started playing it, and I suck. I used to be good. I couldn't even get through a whole song on normal.
Yeah, you got to practice because I honestly play probably once a year. Like once a year, I still play Rock Band 4. When I first start playing, it's like the first song you get a little bit better, right? And then I like to drink, and after a while of getting better, then there's a sharp decline. It's like all right, the drinking kicks in. It's like whoop, better, 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 worse.
Man, it was bad. It was like 12% complete, 16% complete. It's nothing like getting booed off the stage.
Yeah, I mean, in college, if you weren't playing on expert, like people would just be like, "You playing on hard? Ah, you're terrible. You're not even playing on expert. Like
Yeah,
that
yeah.
was." But no, going back, I think I still play on like I either play on like no, I play on hard. I don't play on expert, but I do play on hard. I force myself through somehow.
Man, I couldn't even get through a song on medium. But I swore I'm gonna keep it out and play it so I can get semi good again. I was like, hey, maybe I need to have a Guitar Hero party.
It's like real guitar, man. You got to practice. You got to practice. Now, there's another fighting game on here that I mentioned earlier. We had this on here because it totally revolutionized fighting games. I don't think anybody gave a rat's ass about fighting games until this game came out. And that, of
True.
course, is Street Fighter 2, not the first
Not the first one,
one.
the second one.
I mean, people still play, they can put out Street Fighter 2 on every console generation and people will buy it.
It's Street Fighter. They will. It's Street Fighter. You just all you have to say Street Fighter, and they'll just buy it. But man, I remember in the arcade there was always like multiple cabinets of Street Fighter 2 lined up, and there was tons of people waiting to play, and everybody would put their quarters up to play. And the first one, no one cared. The second one, when they added new characters, they tightened up the control scheme. They added special attacks. It just took over, and they totally revolutionized the fighting genre. I feel.
I think it was. I think it's still probably the best fighting game ever made. Probably. I have to give it some more thought, but it's certainly in my top 3. Like easily in my top 3. But it's just like the balance in the game is so perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has different special moves. Each of them affect
Mm-hmm.
each other differently. But I struggle to think with a game that's better than Street Fighter. That's a fighting game.
Yeah, people people kept getting upset because they said, "Oh, Capcom doesn't know how to count to 3," because they stuck with Street Fighter 2 for years. And granted, we got different variations. We got Turbo, then we got
Champion Edition.
Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition, and then we had Street Fighter 2, the new the new challengers,
Yeah.
which
And then
added like 4 new characters.
There was Turbo, and then there was Street Fighter Turbo. There was like one that had like two names. It was like Street Fighter Turbo something, and they just kept doing that. They just kept adding different names to it.
Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo.
Yeah,
Yeah, and it just kept putting out versions, but people loved it, and we still played them like
yeah.
crazy,
They made a
like
bunch of money
crazy.
by putting out just slightly different versions with other characters on it for years, years and years.
And then people are like, oh, well, if Capcom can have this kind of success, then let us put out a fighting game. I mean, granted, we got Mortal Kombat, but Mortal Kombat was it innovative? Maybe because of the violence,
Yeah, it was over the top.
but without Street Fighter, you wouldn't have a Mortal Kombat.
True. I mean, I personally, in my personal opinion, I feel that the new Mortal Kombat games are superior over the Street Fighter games, like that are current. But I still think I would play Street Fighter 2 over probably any Mortal Kombat game, even though I really do like Mortal Kombat a lot.
Which Street Fighter 2 game is your favorite?
It's 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 just by proxy. I had Street Fighter 2 Championship Edition or Champion
Mhm.
Edition. I don't remember which one it's called. It was
For
for
Dream for
for
the
Genesis.
Genesis.
That's the one I had. That's the one I played. That's the one I'm most familiar with.
Mhm.
That's my game of choice. I know it's not most people's.
Well, it gave you the ability to play as the bosses right away.
Yeah, M Bison's right in there, no doubt.
Mhm. So,
What's
okay.
yours?
Oh man, I I have a soft spot for Street Fighter 2, the original,
Okay.
but I want to say Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo with the new characters is probably going to be my favorite.
Yeah, that's a good version too. I had that on Super Nintendo as
Yeah.
well.
Stay calm. Concentrate on the screen. Street Fighter 2 is on Super Nintendo. From the arcades, the ultimate combat game. Each fighter has a different technique, an acrobatic move, a hidden punch. It's on the streets now, exclusively on Super Nintendo. Super Nintendo with Street Fighter 2. It's unbeatable.